Alright guys, it's another one of those days. About a month ago now, I made a video on the Suicide Squad movie, the one from 2016, and in that video I called it the worst superhero movie of all time. Well, today I'm taking that back because the worst superhero movie of all time is now The Flash. This is another one of those movies that I have to just watch in chunks because it's so much to take in. If I watched the full movie, I watched it all at one time, from beginning to end, I would just flop to the ground and start like shaking and seizing and froth would start coming out of my mouth because it's just so much information to take in at once. This movie perfectly encapsulates that feeling of you're just laying in a hospital bed after having 4 concussions and breaking both legs, and you're watching a movie on the TV and you're just slowly fading in and out of consciousness, and certain parts of the movie start to mold together and you can't really remember the plot very well. This is the feeling that movie gives you. If you want to simulate that feeling and know what it's like, then watch The Flash. Usually I give a little bit of an explanation or some history for the movie before I start talking about it, but not this time. I just want to get into this as quickly as possible, so here we go. So the movie opens with the Flash, whose real name is Barry Allen, waiting in line at a coffee shop, and his stomach growls, so he looks at this watch thing on his wrist and it tells him that he's at low calories. So I guess this guy needs a watch to tell him when he needs to eat. He can't just feel in his body that he needs more food. He needs a watch to tell him. So I guess the idea is that he has a super fast metabolism because he's the Flash and he runs around really fast. So it's hard to keep track of when he needs to eat, I guess. I don't know.
Morning. Yeah, I have to go to work 3 minutes ago, and sorry, I'm in sort of a rush for the sandwich.
You can't rush a good sandwich, dude.
So the Flash is in a rush because he needs to get to work and he's already late. So I don't know why he doesn't just run back into the kitchen at 7 million miles an hour, make himself a sandwich, and then if he's worried about stealing, just leave the money for the sandwich on the desk. I feel like that's what the Flash would actually do in this situation. And then he gets cut off because he gets a phone call from Alfred revealing that this takes place in Gotham City. He tells him that Batman needs help because there's a robbery or something gone wrong or something. So the Flash looks over to see that the guy that's making a sandwich is taking a really long time. So what he does is run into the bathroom, turn into the Flash, and then run out at 7 billion miles per hour. Which just begs the question, why not just make the sandwich yourself and leave the money on the counter? So the Flash flies out of the entrance to the coffee shop and into the center of the street, where he shows off the stupidest suit I think I've ever seen any superhero ever wear in my entire life. But the movie plays this epic music and portrays it like it's the coolest thing of all time. But bro, this is so bad. There's outlines of abs on the suit, even though the Flash doesn't have abs. He doesn't have abs. Why is there no outline of abs when he just wears a normal t-shirt like earlier, but there is when he wears the suit? It's because the abs are fake. So he strikes this stupid pose that looks like a ballerina with Parkinson's while the movie continues its triumphant music trying to convince me that this is cool. And these girls walk up on the sidewalk next to the Flash and they're starstruck by him. So he gets them to throw him a snack and then eats it before striking the Parkinson's ballerina pose again and running down the street. And I can't even describe to you how bad this is. So I'm just going to show you. What the fuck? How did this make it into the movie? All it takes is for one car to switch lanes without signaling and you just die. Right there. It looks even worse when you pause it and just have a still image of it. It looks like it's from a PlayStation 2 game. This is PlayStation 2 level. This is Snapchat filter level CGI. This is so bad. It's insane how this made it into this movie. And I know I already talked about this pose, but my question is, how does this benefit you when you're running? What advantage does striking this pose before you start running give you? Because in track, when there's running in track, the way you start the race is very important. You do that crouched over thing, and then you have the little launcher that you put your foot on, and it's very precise how you actually have to start running and what stance you have to be in, because it gives you a good kickoff or a good boost. I guess the idea is that he uses the leg that's on the ground to kick himself forward, and then he brings the leg that's in the air forward on his next step. But it would be so much better to just start from a track runner's pose than to do this, because your center of gravity is all shifted around. It doesn't make any sense. So he uses his super speed to run all the way over to Gotham, which is, I'm guessing, dozens and dozens of miles away, but it's I thought he didn't have any food. I thought he was hungry, and like his watch said he was running low. So I guess it's not really that much of a problem if he could run like 60 miles in like 10 seconds, even though he's hungry. So what was the point? Why? Why was the sandwich so important if you didn't even need it? He was acting like being hungry was stopping him from running really fast, but it's obviously not. He could just run extremely fast while hungry. So why was the sandwich even that important if you could just run and still have your powers while being hungry? And if you still have your powers while being hungry, then why not just run back into the kitchen and make the sandwich yourself? So after the Flash is done running like 100 miles all the way over to Gotham City, he runs over to this hospital building, and conveniently, just the second he gets there, the floor starts collapsing underneath this ambulance. So the Flash uses his super speed to save the guy, and he lassos him around with this hose or rope or something and pulls him back up. I want you to remember this. So then he looks around to find that Batman is nowhere to be found, and he says this.
Bruce, this is a huge mess. Why aren't you here?
This is a huge mess. Why aren't you here?
Bruce, why does it sound like you're fleeing the scene?
Falcone's idiot kid decided to try to play in the big leagues. Put a crew together and broke into the lab at Gotham General.
Bruce, why does it sound like you're fleeing the scene?
Well, some Falcone idiots are robbing the bank at Gotham General. Like, what is this? Like this is like a parody of these characters or something.
Stole a highly deadly virus.
They stole a highly deadly virus. This is the worst Batman voice of all time in like any form of media.
Stole a highly deadly virus. I intercepted them with
What happened to Batman's voice over the years? Like the Christian Bale Batman, right? That was bad, but it was acceptable. Then we got Ben Affleck's Batman, where he like used this voice modifier, voice changer to make his voice deeper and scarier. And now we don't even have that anymore. It's just like, Gotham General Bank has stole a virus. It just sounds like a crackhead. And doesn't Batman not come out in the daytime? Like, isn't that like a huge part of his character? Is that he doesn't just like come out at lunchtime? When does he sleep? I thought he was Bruce Wayne during the day and he uses that time to rest and like keep up his appearances, and then he becomes Batman at night. I guess he's just Batman at all hours now. And if you were on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that around the time that this movie came out, you might have seen pictures like this of people making fun of the CGI in this movie. And this is the main part that they made fun of. What they did is just made a 3D model of Batman and then took Ben Affleck's chin and then just pasted it onto the 3D model, and it just looks horrible. Why do this? You couldn't just get Ben Affleck to put on the Batman suit and sit on this motorcycle in a green room and then shake around like he's driving? Is that too much to ask for? You have to just make a 3D model of Batman and then copy and paste this man's chin and then put it on the bottom of the mask. Was Ben Affleck away filming those stupid Dunkin' Donuts ads with Ice Spice? So they just FaceTimed him and said like, hey, can you just say like Gotham City Merchants Bank and Robert Bradley, and then send it to us, and we'll just take your chin and put it on top of a CGI 3D model? Ben Affleck was like, yeah, sure. Gee willikers. Technology really has advanced in the last couple of years. All I have to do is go to the local thrift store and piece together the worst Batman suit ever seen by man that I bought with $8 worth of nickels and dimes that I found in couch cushions and cabinets of my house, and then film my chin as I say, Gotham Merchants Bank, gotta get him, and then make like $20 million. And I know I already mentioned earlier how bad the Flash's suit is, but I just have to stress it even more. Like, look at this thing. For me, looking at this suit is like looking at the sun directly. It just hurts my eyes. But why exactly is this suit so bad? I think the reason why this suit looks like shit is because the Flash suit itself doesn't really translate over to live action very well. For example, let's look at what the Flash looked like in the Justice League. Now, that's an animated show, and the art style of that show has a lot of flat colors. So with the character suits in the show, like Batman, for example, they just make his suit a flat color, and then your mind kind of fills in the gaps and assumes what type of material it's made out of. Probably cloth or some kind of spandex or something. And spandex and cloth suits pretty much only work in mediums where things are animated or drawn, because the second you bring them to live action, it just looks terrible and it makes no sense. How is a suit of cloth supposed to act as armor and protect you from things? It can't. So that's why when it comes to live action superhero suits, you have to kind of make them more of a translation or more of an interpretation of the actual suit instead of just copying it one-to-one. And copy it one-to-one is pretty much what they did here, but they didn't want to make it cloth because that would make no logical sense. So what they did was make it this mystery material and make it all one flat color, and it just looks jarring. It doesn't look right. Compare this to the Flash suit in the Justice League movie or in Batman vs Superman in the little cameo. That suit looks a lot better than this one, even though it doesn't really look like the Flash that much. It's just an interpretation, but the reason it looks better is because it looks like it could actually exist in real life. Like, you can see the different metal pieces on it and like where the protection is, and it looks like it's usable and serves a purpose. And when I look at this Flash suit, it doesn't look like it serves a purpose at all. It doesn't look like it's armor protecting him from anything. It looks like some like symbiote skin parasite that's just like attached to his skin, like some skin tight like alien being. Don't even get me started on the Batman suit in this movie. I guess his other suit is just only able to be used at night, so he had to use this Goodwill version instead. It's just a normal Batman costume from Walmart, but he put like these metal platings over top of the front of it, I guess, so that people that are shooting at him know to not shoot there and then just shoot the parts of his body that don't have the metal plates on it. It just doesn't make any sense. This has to be the second worst Batman suit I've ever seen. Second only to the suit from Beware the Batman, where he looks like a cockroach. This is only slightly better than Cockroach Batman. All right, this better be good. I have high expectations for this. I have very, very high expectations. Oh my god, why does he look like that?
Forget reloading.
Whoa, he's gone. Whoa! He looks like a cockroach.
Backup gun was the best bet.
Oh man. Oh no, why did he look like that? Oh no.
What's that they say? Oh yeah, beware the bat. Funny, I don't see nothing to beware of.
Why does he look like that? They wanted to be super creative and give the Flash this really futuristic, awesome looking suit, but they just failed completely. If you want to give him a modern, futuristic looking suit, then just do this. Do what Injustice 2 did. Just copy this suit and use it. I don't get it. Like, I can go on and on about reasons that this suit is horrible. Like the fact that the suit has defined abs and pectoral muscles, but the arms are tiny. The arms aren't defined. If you're gonna give him fake abs and fake pecs, then give him fake arms too. Just do what the Flash CW show did. Wait, what did they do? Oh my god, wow. They didn't even try. They literally did not even try. It's just a jacket with like some red gloves and like some pants and then a mask. Like there wasn't even an attempt made, like... Oh my god. Alright, so I have to make a quick little intermission right here. That last part, I recorded that 4 days ago. It's 4 days later, and I just got like battered by the worst cold ever. So I'm gonna keep trying to record, but you know, I'm gonna sound pretty bad. So we cut back to Batman still chasing these goons down this city street, and it begs the question, why doesn't Batman just get the Flash to chase these people? Because he's the Flash. He could just run at the speed of light and then catch them instantly. Why is he wasting his time with this? Matter of fact, why doesn't the Flash just do everything here? You don't even need Batman to be here. The Flash is basically just a god. He can just do everything at the speed of light and be done in like 1 second. So it cuts back to the Flash, who's saving people from this collapsing building, and Alfred tells him that the right wing of the building is about to completely fall down. And for some reason, some architect that couldn't have more than one brain cell decided to build this entire wing of a hospital on this single pillar like it was Minecraft or something. So the thing is about to collapse, and there's this woman that's trapped inside of this room with a bunch of babies, and she can't open the door. So then it cuts back to Batman again, and he's driving his bat motorcycle chasing these goons, and they're shooting guns at his motorcycle, but for some reason aren't just shooting the tires, which are just exposed in the front of the bike, just these massive rubber tires that you could explode and deflate with one bullet. Instead, the bat motorcycle has these two little shield things that flip up over each of the handlebars, I guess, and they're just shooting at those instead, even though they can just shoot in between them and headshot Batman. They can either just headshot Batman and wipe their hands off and call it a day, or shoot this giant exposed rubber tire at the front of the bike, but they instead just choose to focus their fire on these little shields. So the criminals are driving in this truck down the street, and in front of them, a school bus decides that this is the perfect time to stop and let out some kids, even though the person driving can just see all of this chaos happening in the rearview mirror. And then Batman's like, oh no, I gotta protect the kids. So he shoots out this little ball that expands into these tire cutters, I guess, and it makes the truck have to turn down this alleyway. And it just really makes me wonder, why not just shoot this earlier, because earlier they had nowhere to turn to, so it probably would have just popped their tires and you would have been able to catch them. Or an even better idea would just get the Flash to handle this car chase and then you save the people from the hospital instead. So they race around some more until the cops show up and then effortlessly catch up to this truck. I guess their cars are faster than Batman's Bat motorcycle. This whole time Batman has been trailing behind them and the cops just catch up instantly and are on the side of him. Like, what the fuck? So we cut back to the Flash again, and Alfred is giving him a tutoring session about how to save these people from this Minecraft building. So the building starts crumbling and falling to the ground, so the Flash starts running so fast that he stops time. As this woman and all of these CGI Nintendo GameCube graphic babies fall out of this building. So everything turns orange, because I guess when you move really fast, things just turn orange. And then his speed starts to get lower because he's hungry, I guess, and then he looks around and sees all of the scenarios that all of these babies are going to die in. So it looks like he's going to save one of them, but he jumps past them and punches through this vending machine to grab a candy bar and eat it.
Ah, so funny. Hilarious. Whoa.
And then he goes around and throws things at the different babies to like stop their death scenario from happening. And this is why I'm convinced that the Flash is just God, because not only can he slow down time, or pretty much slow down time, moves so fast that he can slow it down, he can also make other objects speed up and ignore the time slow down, meaning that he can just slow down time and just influence anything around him. So he saves this woman as she screams at nothing and takes this CGI baby out of this microwave. This baby that is in real life just a potato sack with a green blanket wrapped around it. And then we cut back to Batman again, who seemingly fucking sucks at catching people, because these guys have made it all the way out to the highway and then his bike gets exploded and he has to like grapple onto the back of their car, which I don't know why he didn't just do that earlier. So the dude driving rolls out of the side of the car and then it falls off of the bridge. So he has one of these guys dangling because Batman doesn't kill people, when Alfred gives some exposition saying that
If that briefcase falls into the water, it could wipe out half of Gotham by lunchtime.
And it's like, dude, you're telling me that if these bottles drop into this water, it will destroy half of Gotham by lunchtime? First of all, you know that it's in glass bottles, right? Like, it would just hit the water and just probably float and then float away while staying in the glass bottle. And even if this dude unscrewed the caps of this stuff and poured it in the water, or if it like hit the water and cracked and spilled out, this is like this is millions of gallons of water. By that logic, if I pissed in this river right now, would half of Gotham be drinking my piss by lunchtime? No. So like, why is it the same here? It doesn't make any sense. So right when Batman is about to lose his grip on this guy and have half of Gotham wiped out by lunchtime, Wonder Woman teleports there and pulls him up with the lasso of truth. And then this happens.
Sorry I'm late. Watch your step.
Hi.
Hey.
This is not real. This is not a real movie. 3 back-to-back lines that were written by an 8-year-old. Sorry I'm late. Watch your step. Hi. Like this is Batman. This is Batman. Batman doesn't talk like this. Batman doesn't get saved and then be like, hi. Like, what the fuck?
Nice suit. Looking good, Flash.
Well, thank...
And you are welcome.
My ego's far too big to say thank you to someone else. I developed this all-powerful persona to compensate for my childhood trauma.
I too have childhood trauma.
The lasso of truth never gets old.
I thought the lasso of truth just prevents someone from being able to lie, not just make somebody start babbling their deepest secrets and insecurities to you. So, isn't Batman known for being able to resist the lasso of truth on multiple occasions? Like this one famous scene from the comics where Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman all hold the lasso of truth and say their names, and Batman just says his name is Batman. He has such strong willpower, he can just resist the lasso of truth's powers. Or maybe he just thinks of Batman as being his actual identity and Bruce Wayne is the fake one, but I don't know, that's unlikely. But there have been numerous times where Batman has just resisted resisted the lasso of truth when even Superman could not. My point is that this movie is a joke. So after they thank Wonder Woman, she just flies away into the air, ending the literally 30-second Wonder Woman cameo that they had to put in this movie. Batman just couldn't press a button on his grapnel gun and then have it just pull him back up onto the bridge. We had to have Wonder Woman show up and then save him while her theme music plays. Because look guys, the Flash, he's friends with other superheroes that have made us a lot of money, like Batman and Wonder Woman. And this isn't a completely pointless movie that nobody asked for. See, it's like in our larger universe of superheroes. So you should like totally be curious about these characters and like go watch their movies too, please. Like, don't they seem interesting? Please? I just find it insane how it took 3 members of the Justice League to stop a fucking car. They just barely, narrowly escaped from these bottles landing in this water and destroying half of Gotham by lunchtime somehow. Batman, the greatest detective, debatedly the smartest human in the entire world, a man who knows all of the streets in the entire layout of Gotham City like it's his living room, a man who can run faster than the speed of light, as you'll see later in the movie, and Wonder Woman. I guess she could just do anything because she's a woman, I guess, including fly without any kind of propulsion or wings or anything because she's a woman. It took all of them this much effort to stop a car being driven by just normal people. Okay, sure. So then after everybody goes home, Batman is still there with the criminal and he gets up and starts running away. So he takes out a batarang from his utility belt and throws it behind him and it hits him in the head and knocks him out. Wow. So cool. I think that the actual Batman, because this isn't the actual Batman, this is just some type of parody of him or something. I think the real Batman would have already incapacitated this guy and took the briefcase containing the chemicals from him the second that he brought him back up to the bridge. And then right after that, the bat plane gets called down. I guess he's going to use that to bring him and the criminal to prison or something. And it just really makes me wonder, why not chase him in the fucking plane instead of just drive around the city streets endangering civilians and mentally stunted school bus drivers that decide to just let kids out in the middle of a car chase with a giant rubber tire on the front of it that anybody can shoot at and just pop if they weren't stupid enough to just keep shooting these little shields above the tires, when you could have instead just chased them in the plane. And it's not even like it's just a jet. It's a hovercraft. It's like a jet that can hover in place. It doesn't need a runway or anything like that to land. It can just go up and down. It's like kind of like a helicopter plane. So this would be perfectly suitable to chase them in. This movie sucks. And let's be real here for a second. Actual Batman, you know, the real Batman, he wouldn't have even done any of this. The real Batman would have just already had the entire layout of Gotham City in his head, and then he would predict where the criminals are going to go to, and then fly the bat plane over to that road, and then land the plane there, and then slowly step out into the middle of the empty road, and then just stare off into the distance until the criminals start to approach from the distance in their truck, and then they see Batman, and they're like, oh shit, it's the Bat! And they start turning their car, trying to do a U-turn, but they turn too fast, and it flips over and rolls and lands right in front of Batman. And then he would say something like, you're done, get out. That's what the real Batman would actually do. But again, this isn't the real Batman. This is just some kind of caricature of him. The real Batman doesn't act like this. If Wonder Woman saved that guy, he wouldn't just be like, hi. Excuse my terrible Batman impression, but he would say something like, if I needed your help, I would have asked for it. And then Wonder Woman would say, well, did you? And then Batman would open his mouth like he's about to say something, then would look down and realize the lasso of truth is still attached to him. And then he would take it off and be like, And then Wonder Woman would smile as Flash shows up. Like, that's what would actually happen. Batman does not act like how he's being portrayed in this movie. He would do something more like that. And I feel like that's a much better scene here. It still has the humor. And it has Batman actually act how Batman acts. He just wouldn't even answer her question because he would remember the lasso of truth is on him and not want to feel embarrassed. It still gets the same point across that Batman doesn't like asking people for help and has a big ego, and then still have all of the same humor. I don't get why they didn't just write something like that instead. And the Flash can't just leave without saying some corny line. Like, he said some shit like, oh, I gotta go grab my Scooby snacks, see you on the flip side, or some corny shit like that, because you have to make all of the 55-year-old Karens sitting in the back of the movie theater laugh so that they give your movie a good review.
Really love to stay and clean up more mess, but this little superhero needs his breakfast.
Goodbye, Flash.
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
Listen, man. Fur Coat, Volume 1, November 20th. Charlemagne.
You was too aggressive, man. You too hyper.
No, because, man, that was a diss track to you. That's why.
You too aggressive.
You got me hyped.
So after that whole situation is done, the Flash runs all the way back to the cafe to get his sandwich and then walks like a goofy dupe fuck to this laboratory research base type of place where he works. So it turns out the Flash, whose real name is Barry, I don't know if I mentioned that before, he works to study crime scenes and crimes and things like that. What's that called? Forensics, I think. And the reason he's a forensic scientist is because his father was wrongly accused of killing his mom, and he's trying to prove his innocence and bring him to justice. That guy with the square head, that's the Flash. Right.
Oh God.
So
okay.
he's the Flash. He's been flashing around and he's been flashing it up. Right. So all that flashing doesn't make up for the fact that his dad is in prison because he got like incarcerated for killing his mom, even though he didn't actually do it. And like, I guess they were just like, I don't know, you did it. So they put his dad away. So instead of just like turning into the Flash and going like at like 700 miles per hour and just breaking out his dad at like 1,000,000 miles per hour where nobody would even notice, he instead is like trying to start like a whole case to prove his dad's innocence, and this is like his third try. So that's what's happening. Well, after that, he goes back home to his apartment where he has a phone call with his father, who's in prison still. And since this is like the third or fourth try that his son has tried to reopen this case to try to prove his innocence and get him out of prison, all of them have failed. And at this point, his dad is like, dude, it's been years. You've tried so much. Maybe it's just time for you to move on with your life. And it's a really sad premise and idea, but the acting is just so terrible that it just undermines the entire scene and makes you just unable to take it seriously.
Do that, you might actually have time for a girlfriend.
Dad, I don't want.
I don't want.
I'm okay, really.
If I have sex, I'll lose my wizard powers.
It's probably easier for me to be here than out there.
You know how much ELO I would lose in League of Legends?
Out there living her life.
So Barry tells his dad about a new computer program that his friend created, which I guess can raise the quality of videos. So they took the security footage of his dad in the store that he was at during the time of Barry's mother's murder, and the problem is that he doesn't look up to the camera, so they can't deduce that it's him. I guess this store is just so broke that they only have one security camera in the entire store. You know, there's like cameras everywhere you go, right? You know, there's cameras in the parking lot to capture all of the cars. You could have seen him drive up and then get out of the car and then match his license plate to his vehicle. You could have caught him as he walked into the store. You know, there's cameras when you walk into different stores, right? They even have a screen so you can see yourself in them. I guess he just walked into the store backwards or something, so it didn't capture his face. And it's not really too hard to at least have a solid foundation to defend this guy with, even though you can't see his face. I think it's pretty unlikely that there would be a man with the same car, with the same license plate on the car, dressed the exact same, with the same build and the same height, in a different place. I guess that's what they have to believe in order to say that this guy is guilty, that there's another person that exists with his same car, same license plate, and same clothes at the same time as him. There's like parking lot security cameras. Like, it just doesn't. The more you think about it, the more it makes no sense. So Barry has a flashback of his past when he's a kid and remembers that his mother runs out of tomato sauce to make some type of dinner or something. So then his dad has to run out to the store to get the extra tomato sauce, and then while they're both gone, that's when she gets killed. So after Barry is done having his flashback, the phone disconnects because I guess they go over their allotted time to speak together, and the Flash gets upset and then starts running really fast. And I like how he never has to turn. He can just keep running in a straight line and there will never be anything in his way. He could run thousands of miles per hour and never run into anything. I guess at this speed, if he were to run into anything, he wouldn't even really be able to tell, would he? So he runs faster and faster until he runs so fast in a straight line that he breaks reality. And later what you figure out has happened is that he runs faster than the speed of light, and because of that breaks reality and things start morphing around him. In case you're wondering, it would take only 0.13 seconds to go around the entire planet at the speed of light. That's faster than the blink of an eye to just go around like 25,000 plus miles. This guy is circling the Earth like thousands and thousands of times. You'd think he would just make holes through skyscrapers and mountains. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, I should not take this movie seriously unless sad music plays. That's like the rule that the movie wants you to follow. You should only take the movie seriously when Barry is talking to his dad and saying shit like, but I don't want. That's the only time. Like, any other time, you should not take it seriously. Then he goes into this separate time realm and goes into this little bubble, and he just keeps running and rewinding time. Because I guess that's what happens when you go really fast. You just go into this bubble and time starts reversing around you. I know that time can actually slow down if you go extremely fast. Like, if you go in an airplane and just go at hundreds of miles per hour, time will actually go slower. And that's because of a lot of complicated science stuff. You know, there's like momentum, and then there's like space-time, and like momentum bends space-time. And it's like all this shit that I don't really completely understand. But it doesn't reverse time. It just slows it down. And we saw that throughout this entire movie when the Flash goes to supersonic speeds, and then everything around him is super slow in comparison to him. The science behind that is that he's going so fast that he's experiencing time slower than everybody else. So I guess when you run really fast, it slows time, but when you go really fast, it also reverses time too. You would think that it would just stop time because you would experience it so slowly, it would just come to a stop, not reverse. That doesn't make any sense. And there's times when he's in this bubble rewinding time, but he's not even running. Like, what the fuck? Are you standing still faster than the speed of light? It doesn't make any sense. Like, how? And don't even come at me with the,
Oh, you're taking the movie too seriously, Zero.
dude, he's standing still faster than the speed of light. Is the idea that he ran so fast that he reached a certain place? Like, he ran to a place that he can rewind the time in? Because that doesn't make any sense. He's not going to a place. He's running around the globe in circles. And I'm not even going to try to be scientific and factual and be like, matter actually can't travel faster than the speed of light, because the speed of light is the speed limit of the universe. Because, you know, it's a comic book movie and it's going to be fictional and they're going to make stuff up. But when you make stuff up and be fictional, you still have to have it grounded in reality and make it make sense. And what even is this place anyway? He's in this time bubble that's showing, I guess, notable moments of his life. And wow, this looks like shit. This really looks like shit. Is that supposed to be Superman? Is that supposed to be Aquaman? Is this claymation or something? Why does it look so fucking bad? Dude, it looks like that like 21 Savage for real music video with the clay.
Oh, it actually does.
That's what it looks like, but it's not clay. The thing that's crazy is this, right? There exists a human being on this earth. We are sharing the earth with a man who looked at this, the finished product of the CGI of this scene, and said, that looks great, man. You killed it. Let's use that. He's out there somewhere. I don't know where he is, but that man exists. I just want to know what this dude was smoking when he took a look at the CGI and saw that it looked like the fucking Gumby movie and was like, yeah, this looks good. Let's use it because I want some of that shit. I want some. Did they just take this scene and then show it to a blind man and then ask him, what do you think of this? Is it good? Because that seems like it's what happened. Like, this looks horrible. Why is Superman's skin so reflective? Skin doesn't reflect light this much. It's like his skin is shiny. It just reflects light like the back of a DVD or something. Is he covered in oil? Like why make it like this? So the Flash's plan is to reverse time all the way back to when he was a kid so he can go to the store and make sure that his mom doesn't forget the tomatoes so that his dad never has to go out to the store and get them, and so his mother doesn't die. Let's say, all right, so Barry goes and puts the tomatoes in his mom's cart. Because of that, his mom doesn't forget the tomatoes and his dad doesn't have to go out to get them. Right? So the burglar still breaks in, right? That's not stopping the burglar from breaking in. So I guess what he's betting on is is that his dad will be home and then I guess he'll be able to defend her from the burglar. What if they both still just fucking die?
And then they'll both die, which
Right,
might happen since the movie's 2 hours. I'm assuming that would happen.
I think so. Like, wouldn't they just both die? Or maybe I'm supposed to think that that's what's gonna happen. Or also another thing is like if he goes back into the past and puts the tomatoes back, then she doesn't forget the tomatoes, and because she never forgets the tomatoes, they don't die, meaning that he'll never have to go back to put the tomatoes in the cart. It's like a parrot. It doesn't make any sense. If he puts the tomatoes in the cart, then he doesn't need to put the tomatoes in the cart. So, okay, so Barry goes back to the past to put tomatoes
Can we
in the
call him
cart.
Baby Berry?
Okay. Sorry. Baby Berry goes back in the past to put the tomatoes in the cart. That means the tomatoes were put in the cart in the past. That means present Berry, not Baby Berry, would never have to go back to put the tomatoes in the cart because they're already there. You get it? So why is he here? Am I tripping? I don't know how to explain it. I'd have to do a drawing. I'm gonna have to do a drawing like in the video to explain.
Let's just watch the movie because I don't know.
It makes sense, but I just don't have the words. I'd have to do a doodle in the video to explain.
Yeah.
So Barry does this, and it somehow works and doesn't break the fabric of reality, and he goes back into the time ball and starts running again, and time starts going forward through a reality where his parents lived. So I guess what the movie is trying to tell me is that when you run really fast, you stop time. And also when you run really fast, you reverse time. And also when you run really fast, you speed up time. I don't know, it doesn't make any sense! The Flash can just do whatever he wants, whenever he feels like it, and there's no rules, there's no system that's been established as to how this works. He can just do whatever he wants because he's just a god. And it's like the movie wants you to take this shit seriously. Like it plays this somber music when he goes back to see his mom, and then it plays this triumphant music when he's running back through. Like it's not delivered as some kind of joke, and it's like, oh, we know it doesn't make any sense, it's just a funny kids movie. No, they want you to take it seriously. I can understand how going back in time works kind of within the rule set and systems of the movie. Like I guess when you run super fast, faster than the speed limit of the universe, faster than the speed of light, then reality kind of starts acting wonky, and then you can go back in time. But how does going forward in time work? How does running really fast make things go really fast around you? Because the whole movie showed that when he goes fast, things around him slow down because he's experiencing time slower than everyone else. Is it that he's going so slowly that everything around him is going fast? I don't know. The movie never explains it. I'm like not even, I'm done trying to figure it out. I'm just fucking done. Let's just finish the movie. So Barry is inside of the time bubble, running forward in time back to the time that he came from when he sees this mysterious purple figure in the distance, which looks just like him and definitely isn't Barry from the future. Wow. Definitely not obvious at all. So he gets knocked out of the time bubble in front of his own house and then doesn't want to go into his house with a flash suit, so he steals some clothes from some old people and then walks into his own house where he finds his mom still alive, which means that I guess him going back and putting the tomatoes in the cart worked because this serial killer didn't decide to just kill his mom and his dad since they were both home. And then we get some more amazing Oscar award-winning acting.
That's a weird question because I was here. But obviously we share those memories.
What the fuck?
Or I don't know, maybe we can make some new memories like we did the aquarium. Or
His voice just pisses me off.
I just hate how he sounds gay but straight at the same time. So Barry's eating dinner with his family, or I guess eating lunch with them, when he looks outside and notices the Barry from this timeline coming back from school and going into the house. Can't you tell that your son aged drastically since he went to school? Like your son went to school in his late teens and then came back home in his mid-20s. Like, how do you not notice that? So Barry uses his super speed to run outside and subdue the younger Barry so that he doesn't come into the house and his parents don't freak out at seeing two Barrys. From this point forward, I'm just going to use Barry to refer to the older Barry and then call the younger one from this timeline younger Barry. So expectedly, younger Barry starts freaking out seeing an older version of himself that just ran around at super speed and pushed him up against the side of his house. And it's really obvious that this is a separate timeline or some separate multiverse universe or something, because if this was the same timeline and Barry went back to the past to talk to a younger version of himself, then he would just remember himself talking to younger Barry because he used to be younger Barry. So he would remember all of his actions and it would just break reality and create a paradox. So because of that, this has to be some type of multiverse. I'm just saying this right now because it'll make a little bit more sense later. I know it's obvious. Oh my god, if one wasn't bad enough, now there's fucking two. Oh my god.
Supposed to be two of me. You and I are not supposed to be occupying the same reality at all, let alone interacting.
Oh yes, there's a different reality.
Time travel.
So okay, it kind of makes sense. When you go back in time, you go back in the past of a different universe. It doesn't really make any sense, but at least there's like a system here. There's rules in place. Nice. But what happens next kind of dismantles everything that was set up here. Barry figures out what day it is, and it turns out to be the exact day that he got his superpowers. And the way he got them was he was struck by lightning while a bunch of chemicals hit him, and it gave him his powers. So Barry starts panicking before he tells younger Barry that he needs to be in the location that he was when he got his superpowers. Because if younger Barry doesn't get his superpowers in the past, past, then Barry won't have his superpowers in the future because he never would have got them. Which doesn't make any sense because they just clarified that it's two different universes. Because if it was the same universe, then Barry would have younger Barry's memories and remember everything he's saying to himself as he's saying it, and it would just break reality and not make any sense.
What do you mean?
I don't think it's a separate reality because this is what he's going to try to do. He is like, you get your powers today. He's like, I got my powers today in 30 minutes because I was here at this time and this happened. I think like maybe lightning struck him or something, right? So I need to get you there in 30 minutes so that you get your powers. Because if you're me in the past and if you don't get your powers, then I don't have mine in the future, right?
You won't have it. Oh.
Which means that I won't be able to go back home with my powers. You get it? So it is the same fucking reality. It doesn't make any sense. So then why doesn't he remember him?
They talk about it like it's exactly. They talk about it like it's two different realities.
But yet,
It's
why
so weird.
is it that he's an idiot and doesn't know?
I don't know.
I don't know. Just play. It doesn't make any sense. It's the same reality.
Maybe, and then that would mean that I lose.
Yeah, you're right.
Getting back in time.
Yeah, see, he won't be. He wants to get his powers because he won't have them in the future if he doesn't get them because he's him in the same timeline. It's the same thing. That's so corny, bro.
So basically, it's the same timeline when the plot needs it to be the same timeline. And it's a different timeline, and the both Barrys are from a different universe when the movie needs them to be. You can't just take plot elements from it being a multiverse and then take plot elements from them being in the same timeline and mix them together and expect your movie to not be a complete mess. It's not that Barry is just an idiot and thinks that if younger Barry doesn't get his powers, then he won't have his. That's not the case at all. Barry is actually correct. And if younger Barry wouldn't have gotten his superpowers, then Barry would not have his powers because he would have never gotten them. But if that's the case, then it means that Barry got his superpowers because a Barry from the future helped him. Because that happened in the past! It's just time travel slop. It makes no sense. This is the worst time travel I think I've ever seen in any movie. It just does whatever the plot needs it to do. If it needs to be two different multiverses because the plot wants to do something with that, then it is. And then if it's the same timeline because the plot wants to do something with that, then it is. It just switches. I'm actually serious when I say this is the worst use of time travel I've ever seen in a story. Usually when time travel in a story works well, it's either one in a comedic setting because the fact that it doesn't make any sense can just be looked over because the movie's not meant to be taken serious anyway, or it's kept down to a really simple linear story where it can actually work without too many variables and things that could not make sense. And oftentimes they'll have things in the movie that are there because characters from the future put them there in the past. And then when you watch the movie a second time, it kind of just like makes more sense why things happened. Those are the two types. It's either a comedy or it's either used on a really linear story to where it can actually be used and make sense. And it seems like whenever you do something other than that with time travel, it just turns into slop. Like, look at this. This is just a mess. Who wrote this and how did it make it this far?
A few moments later.
Now, we've talked about this movie for the past hour, basically, but now I wanted to talk about some things that happened outside of the movie. I found this article by a website called Inverse talking about how the director of the movie, named Andy Muschietti, actually says that the horrible CGI in The Flash is like that because it's supposed to look that way. According to the Flash director, Andy Muschietti, that's how it's supposed to look. The bad VFX is not a result of an unfinished product rushed to release, but a feature. And it's all made clear in the first, quite bizarre action sequence. Near the start of The Flash, Barry Allen is tasked with evacuating a crumbling hospital in Gotham City. He uses his powers to save people from the falling rubble, but then the worst happens. The foundations collapse, causing an entire floor of newborn babies to come shooting out of the window alongside a screaming nurse. Bro, that sounds so horrible when you just say it out loud or read it from something. A building collapses and a bunch of newborn babies fall out of it and the Flash has to save them. Somebody had to pitch that idea to somebody. Like, there was a guy that was like, all right, I have an idea for the Flash movie. We have this building and then it explodes and then babies fly out and then the Flash has to save the babies. It just sounds so stupid. The whole scene freezes and starts to move in slow-mo with Barry hopping along at normal speed, throwing a burrito into a falling microwave to boost his fading energy, then using a gurney and the microwave to rescue the falling babies. Unfortunately, it looks a little off. IO9 asked Andy Muschietti about this sequence, and Andy Muschietti revealed why the babies looked like they were ripped out of an early 2000s video game. Quote, the idea, of course, is we are in the perspective of the Flash, he says. Everything is distorted in terms of lights and textures. We enter this, quote, water world, which is basically being in Barry's POV. It was part of the design, so if it looks a little weird to you, that's what was intended. That might be. some of the worst cope I've ever seen in my life. That's up there of like top 10 copes of all time. I tried to do some more research to find what else he said about the CGI, and I found out that that's it. He has no further comment besides like, oh yeah, you know, from his perspective, things look a little wonky because he's traveling at super fast speeds. That is the most bullshit cope answer he could have ever given, because it doesn't even answer the question. He talks about this whole water world thing, and what he's talking about when he says water world is this like orange environment that Barry goes into when he runs really fast. And you know how everything moves around him really slowly and turns orange, and you see like the orange lightning everywhere? That's what he's talking about as far as this water world. But that's not what the interviewer asked. The interviewer asked, why does the CGI look shit? And he responds with, well, you know, Barry goes into a water world type of thing and it looks weird from his perspective. He just straw-manned the question so he didn't have to admit that the CGI looked like shit. And let's say he actually was answering the question correctly and not straw-manning it, then what about all the times there's terrible CGI on things that Barry doesn't even see and they aren't even from his perspective at all, like literally photoshopping Ben Affleck's chin onto a 3D model of Batman? That's not from Barry's perspective. When you actually give it some thought though, he was kind of backed into a corner here, and it's like, what did you really expect him to say? Because when he was being interviewed for this, the movie was still in theaters, so I guess he didn't want to discourage people from going to go see the movie still. But that still doesn't really answer the question as to why the CGI in this movie looks so horrible, even though it had such a big budget. So I did a little bit more research, and I think I found a main idea as to why. It pretty much comes down to the movie industry being pretty shitty towards the VFX companies. So from what I understand, the way that movie studios like Warner Brothers get VFX companies to do the CGI for them is that they'll put out a bid for the VFX companies depending on how many shots that they need to be done with CGI for their movie. So for example, a movie might need 5,000 or so shots to have CGI placed over it, and the movie studio pays the VFX company based on that amount of shots. But this gets pretty complicated when you realize that different shots require different amounts of work. For example, one shot might be as simple as just removing Henry Cavill's mustache with CGI, or removing some object from the background that isn't supposed to be there. But then the shot right after that, you might have to take a bunch of characters and put them on a green screen, and then add all kind of different effects around them, and then put in fake characters that are made of CGI completely, and then change the background around and just do a million different things. But the VFX company gets paid the same for these two shots, even though one is dramatically more difficult to do than the other, because they were paid up front to do the entire job, which consisted of 5,000 shots. So because of this, VFX artists and different people who work on CGI for superhero movies like this have just been being abused basically for years and overworked into the ground. It's not like these VFX companies that do CGI for superhero movies can just choose not to do these jobs, because there's literally only like 2 companies making blockbuster superhero movies. So if you turn down their jobs, then what are you gonna work for? And some other company is gonna come along and then just do the work that you tossed up anyway. So you might as well just do it, because the alternative is to just get no work at all, since Warner Brothers and Marvel have pretty much just monopolized superhero movies. So that's why a lot of CGI on these movies that have gigantic budgets looks so bad, because it probably comes from a few artists that were working on this stuff and were just pushed to do this ridiculous, unrealistic deadline, because these giant big budget movies are coming out more frequently than they ever have before. So these people are just getting pushed along and rushed to complete this work to just get on to the next thing. And that kind of makes everything make a little bit more sense when you see a clay Superman and you're just like, how did this even get in this movie? Did somebody work on this for 2 days? And the answer is yeah, somebody probably worked on this for 2 days and was like, oh my god, this looks terrible, but I don't have time to fix it, and just had to just move on to the next thing. And it's honestly just really sad when you think about it. Like, imagine being the person who worked on the CGI for this scene, or rather the team of people. You're putting in 12, 16 hours a day to try to make this look as good as you possibly can, so that your VFX company isn't known for making shitty CGI for movies. But then you have all of these different people breathing down your neck telling you to hurry up as fast as you possibly can, because they're trying to get this movie out and make all of the money back that they spent on making it. So then you have to cut corners and just make this crappy looking CGI, and then after all that, the director of the movie completely ignores and strawmans somebody's question when they're concerned for why the visual effects in this movie look so bad. It's really fucked up. But as bad as the CGI is in this movie, at least it's not as bad as the Flash CW show. I referenced this show a little bit earlier in the video when I talked about the horrible Flash costume from season 5 of it. But dude, I don't even know how this show even ran for the length that it did. It had like 6 or 7 seasons or something. And I know people that swear up and down that it's good, but then I look at the fight scenes and just see this.
What? This isn't real. Bro, this isn't real, is it? This is like Power Rangers, bro. Dude, what? Dude,
Gideon,
what?
let CCPD know I've got Hart. I'm bringing him in now. Guess you couldn't run away forever,
This is
Hart.
so bad. What the fuck? Dude, who is this for? Like, kids? Like, this has to be like for kids or something. What the fuck? How is he alive? So he just like paced through him, or like he like ran through him? Wouldn't he have like exploded?
Yo, that was so crash.
Yo, it was pretty crash though. I'm not gonna lie, pretty crash.
You just phased through a speedster.
Who didn't see me coming?
Your molecules could have conjoined on a quantum level. Do you not know what that means?
No, I don't. Because I'm a
Bro,
freshman
what
in
the
college,
fuck?
and I don't learn quantum physics until my junior year. You remember that, right, Sis?
Whatever.
Yo,
Bart, you have to stop pulling these crazy stunts. You're still learning how to control your meta abilities.
Bro, the exposition is so bad. I learned so much about these characters. Oh my god. Bart, it's your first year being a speedster. You're still learning about your abilities. Like this just so it's like he knows that, obviously. Why do you have to tell him?
The day you saw that. Also, I am expanding my boundaries. Right? Like,
Bro,
what else you can do if
what?
you actually push yourself?
Seriously? Did you not just see my lightning lasso?
Seriously? Did you not just see my lightning lasso?
Okay, that's really bad.
Warning. August Hart now located at 5724 Fontana Drive.
What?
Flash Museum.
I like how they put this fake statue here. The statue isn't even... They couldn't even be bothered. They couldn't even be bothered to make a actual prop statue and put it here and make actual, like, prop banners to put on the telephone poles. Wait, actually, not this whole picture looks fake now that I look at it. I'm so confused. That's just insane. What the fuck? What the fuck?
You'll never find him, but...
Mom and Dad will kill us all.
Screw it.
Bro, I feel like this is the show that this is like, no, this gives me the feeling of, this is like a show that would be on in the background of a show. Like that's the feeling I'm getting. Like this is like a fake show that would come on in the background of another show. Like some like kid in a movie would be watching this show in the movie, and it's like a fake show that doesn't exist.
Be one god of speed, Flash.
There can only be one. There can only be one god of speed. If they have like lightning powers, where does the lightning come from? Where does the lightning come from, dude?
This didn't work out like you planned, Flash. Now guess what comes next? Tag, you're dead.
Dad!
Wait, that's his dad. That's his dad. Why is there like 700 different? Why is there like 700 different versions of Flash? Why is every character like a different Flash?
I know what I said. I know what I said, but this is different. This is different. I'm not gonna let Hart...
That's like two different takes. That's like two different takes.
Anyone that I care for, not now, not ever. I believe you, son. Now,
who is this guy? Who is this? It's like, I want to see him run at like 7 million miles per hour. He's like geriatric Flash. He's like AARP Flash. Oh no, it's reverse Flash, I think.
Just to take me down? That's very flattering.
Bro, so my question is this, right? Like, so you have like the Flash, right? And he can run at like the speed of light. Then you have like this guy, Godspeed, who can run even faster than the Flash. But the Flash can run at like the speed of light. So I guess he runs faster than the speed of light. It gets to a point where you can't go any faster, right? Like it gets to the point where it's just like infinity, right? Like it gets to the point where it's just like teleportation, I'd assume. Because it's like how fast does it get?
Don't you two get it? You can't kill a god!
Bro, this guy is dressed like a fucking golf ball. Like why? Like why did they dress up Godspeed like a fucking golf ball? Like why? And he has lightning powers. Oh, it's a lightning sword. Oh no. they have speed swords. Oh my god, what the fuck? Bro, why do they have like speed swords? Oh, that's... Wait, why did he have to... Wait, why for... So to get his sword, he had to like reach up and grab lightning out of the air, right? But for this sword, he doesn't need to do that. He just make it appear. So did he do that like just for show, to show off to them and look cool? Like why? If you could just get it so easily by just getting it in his hand, then why did he like have to get the first sword from the heavens? Why is this guy so blurry? No. Oh my god. Are they watching like a Twitch stream of the fight? Like, how are they? This is like the worst. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. I think this might be the worst thing I've ever saw.
Now I know I'm just selectively looking at the bad parts from the Flash show, but before I move on, the last thing I want to say is that, so these guys can run at super speed, right? Like they run like extremely quickly, but instead of running super fast and fighting each other super fast, they instead decide to just fight at normal speed with glow sticks. Like all three of them just silently agree to just fight normally at the speed of a normal human, when one of them could at any time just swing their sword at legit the speed of light and decapitate the other guy. They just have all come to this honorable agreement where they're gonna have honor and then just like fight at normal speed with glow sticks. I'm sorry, it's just so bad. It's just so fucking bad. As far as the Flash movie goes, I feel like this has to be one of the most disappointing movies I've ever seen in my entire life. The way I first heard about this movie was I saw a trailer for it when I went to go see John Wick 4 in the theaters, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's like a Flash and Batman movie. I really like that. But then being on YouTube and Twitter and seeing everybody post crazy screenshots of all of the horrible CGI in this movie, it's just really so disappointing. This could have been such a great movie. What I originally thought it was going to be was a live action version of the Flashpoint animated movie, you know, the one where like the Flash goes through time with Reverse Flash and then there's like Flashpoint Batman. That's what I thought this was going to be, but it's not at all. That would have been so much better than what we ended up getting. I would have loved that movie a lot, but who knows, maybe they would have just screwed that up as well. Maybe it's for the best that they left that story alone. But so far this video is close to an hour long now, and we've only talked about maybe less than a quarter of this movie. And I told myself that I wasn't going to rush through this movie, and I was just going to go in depth and talk about literally every single little thing that I wanted to talk about. So because of that, it's probably going to take me a really long time to work my way through this movie. So I think right now is a good place to cut this, where maybe we'll talk about another chunk of this movie. It's just right now I haven't posted a video for 2 weeks, and I just have this content right here that I can put out as a part 1. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this up, and then I'll be back in maybe another week or 2 weeks or so with the second part, where we'll take a look at the middle section of this movie. because I originally thought I could be able to talk about this whole movie within an hour, but I just have so many details that I want to touch on that it's just going to take me a lot longer than that. This might be a 2 or 3 part series where each one is an hour each. And then maybe after I'll just like edit them together into a longer video. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I know I haven't really been uploading that frequently. It's just because I've been busy with a lot of stuff in real life. I started a new job and I've just been spending a lot of time, you know, offline, off of the internet and in the real world. So I haven't really been on the internet as much. So the time that I'm actually in my room on my computer, like doing things and making videos, has just become a lot less, you know, as I'm getting older. So yeah, thank you again for watching. I'll be back in hopefully not that long with the next chunk of this movie, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.